Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out Jasmy coin's price chart. And unfortunately, what we didn't want to see in the previous video basically played out in Jasmy. If you remember, the last time that we talked about Jasmy coin, we were, I think, right around this specific area. And the idea was that odds are this is going to be another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 8 down in order to have on a higher degree an ABC zigzag, which in terms of the subwaves, you know what, if you are a regular viewer, we're gonna have 5 down into a correction for wave B. We can consider different patterns for, let's say in this case, maybe like an ABC, again, not that important, and then another 5 wave down into C. And if I just go on the live chart, okay, maybe it's best to go on 15-minute time frame so we can see the candles a bit better. So in the previous video, we were saying, well, off of the highest side, which is in here about 1.06 cents, we can consider 5 down into an A leg, followed by a WXY, probably in form of a flat and a zigzag into wave B, and this can be another move on the downside into our C leg. And we said in like a really bullish and ideal scenario, we really do not want to see Jasmy coin going a whole lot lower than these areas. And again, in an ideal scenario, we want to have a rather strong bounce, and by that, you know it, I'm talking about having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave on the upside in order for us to be bullish with more confidence. So what happened? Not this scenario. And unfortunately, we got a rather good move on the downside. And we specifically said, again, we really do not want to see a deep move down in Jasmy. But, you know, the market doesn't really care about what you, I, or for that matter, anybody else thinks. The market does what it does. We are just here to analyze it. Now, here's a question. Should we right now in Jasmy be like absolutely 100% bearish? I think it's a little bit too soon to jump into those kinds of bearish conclusions. Why? You see, if you want to argue that in terms of Elliott waves, we're going to have maybe our final low around here. Let's say this is like a decent support. Then, okay, off of the lowest low in this region, you have to be able to find a 5 wave on the upside, followed by a relatively slow and choppy move down. And between our pullbacks up, you should be constantly able to identify overlapping of the waves. And generally, this move on the downside is going to take more time relative to this move up right in here. So let's go in here. Okay. As you can see, in Jasmy, off of the lowest low, which is this point about 0.78 of a cent, we are able to identify a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave with all the subwaves. So this can definitely be an optimistic sign, but followed by that, now we are having a bit of a decent move on the downside. And the reason for why right now I am a bit torn on this is because, as you can see, timing wise, yep, the current move down that we are currently in is actually taking more time than this thing. Let's just measure it timing wise. As you can see, this initial bounce off of the lows in Jasmy took about, let's say, 294 candlesticks on 15-minute time frame. On the other hand, so far this move down is taking us about 830 candlesticks, and in it, we haven't really managed, at least yet, to completely cover this phase on the upside. So to me, this suggests, okay, maybe bulls are still in here, and soon, hopefully, they are going to take charge and send the price higher. But why did I say that going down in Jasmy from here may not necessarily be an optimistic sign? Well, I got two reasons for it. Number one, in terms of Elliott's waves, you see, I guess there is still an argument to be made for this move down to be like a wave 1, correction for 2, and maybe like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down to about this point into our wave 3, correction for 4, and another move on the downside into our wave 5, and on a higher degree, maybe this is going to be an ABC zigzag. On the other hand, though, you can actually argue that, yeah, okay, sure, this can be a 5 wave down, but on a higher degree, it might be into a wave 3, followed by a correction for 4, and what's next? Another rather strong move on the downside into our wave 5. So the fact that our move down got a little bit deep, and also point number 2, this is actually the main point, the fact that in terms of classic TA, we unfortunately once more got under this level again about, let's say 0.94 of a cent, in my view, is definitely not an optimistic sign. But having said all that, let me just repeat that I don't really think that we should be fully bearish. Now, in like very short term, I do think that we are going to get a move on the downside, but then I'm actually counting on a decent bounce, and it all in my view comes down to this specific move up that we are going to get, I'm going to say probably in the next 7 to 10 days. Why is this so important? Because if truly bulls are going to be back, and if we are really bullish, well, okay, makes sense to argue point number one, this is going to be quite a strong move up, a 1 2 3 4 5 without a lot of overlapping of the waves. And also point number two, in this phase up in Jasmy, we are going to get back above this very important level, which the higher band of it is about, let's just say 1 cent area. If we do this, awesome sign. At that point, I might be able to tell you, you know what, maybe on a higher degree, we are having 5 up into 1 correction for wave 2, and then we're going to be on our way up to have like a very strong move into wave 3 and 4 and 5. So if in the next couple of days you see, after having a small move down, maybe another bounce in order to again get back above this important level, I guess that can be a very bullish sign for us. As long as we are under here though, I think we need to be, unfortunately, still a bit more patient and careful. Now, what is going on in like very short term? Let's go on 5-minute time frame. So I'm not really sure if you are a fan of classic patterns, but if you like them, I'm gonna say, well, maybe this is a bit of a triangle structure for you, and it's very important to understand that triangles in pretty much 99% of the time are actually continuation patterns. Meaning what? Yep, you see, we actually initially went down and now we are consolidating, so the next move might very well be on the downside. However, again, it's very important to understand that maybe after this move down, we are actually going to have a bit of a bounce. Why? Because I'm willing to bet a lot of other short-term traders are also seeing this pattern as well, and most of them do actually have some short position in here, and their stop losses usually are going to be around these important highs. So I'm gonna say in Jasmy, above the highs, we do actually have a decent bit of liquidity, but at first you may see a bit of a move on the downside, especially because in terms of Elliott's waves, excuse me, I think we are having an A, B, C, D, E in form of a triangle. So this actually does suggest that we are going to have like a 1 2 3 4 5, but then immediately you might see a bit of a jump in order to take all the highs. And if we manage to go a bit higher in form of an impulse, yeah, you know what, that can be like a really bullish sign. So for now, for like very short term, I don't really mind if in Jasmy we end up getting something like a 7% move on the downside. Let's just real quick actually measure our target, which is going to be the height of our triangle from here to about this point, and put this thing at our breaking point. This is giving you about maybe like 0.8 of a cent for your target. And then I'm really hoping before we take the lowest low, which if I just go on 15-minute time frame, excuse me, I swear to God, I have a decent internet. Okay. It's somewhere around 0.7 of a cent. Before taking this low, I'm really hoping that we're gonna have a good move on the upside. And when we get this thing, trust me, we are going to make new updates and see what the shape of this move is looking like. Okay, if we get a strong move, and again, it's very important to remember, at the same time, if we manage to also get back above the higher band of this level, which is about 1 cent, that could be like a really bullish sign, since also this is a very important resistance area from daily time frame recently as well. So again, this level in my view is very important, and it is going to decide what is next in Jasmy. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Jasmy coins chart. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.